Good morning, everyone. So today we will discuss Module 4, the visual elements tone. By the way, I am Lilani M. Olaso, your instructor on art appreciation. But first, let us know what is tone. In art, the term tone describes the quality of color. It has to do whether a color is perceived as warm or cold, bright or dull, light or dark, pure or dirty. The tone of a piece of art can have a variety of effects, from setting the mood to adding emphasis. The visual element of tone defines the lightness or darkness of a color. The tonal value of an artwork can be adjusted to alter its expressive character. Tone can be used to create a contrast of light and dark, to create illusion of form, to create a dramatic or tranquil atmosphere, to create a sense of depth and distance, and lastly, to create a rhythm or pattern within a composition. I have selected artworks in the next slide. The reason why I chose them because they all use tone in an inspirational manner. I have analyzed each of these to demonstrate how great artists use this visual element as a creative force of their work. Tone as contrast of light and dark. Caravaggio, 1527 to 1610. Basket of Fruits, 1595 to 1596, oil on canvas. So as you can see, a basket of fruit. It is a striking display of summer fruit that uncharacteristically of Caravaggio appears the dark against the light. The background is the light color and the dark is the basket of fruit. It is considered to be the first freestanding still life in Western art and is the only true example of genre in the artist. Caravaggio demonstrates outstanding skills in the way he captures the delicate variation in the color and texture of the produce. The fruit in the painting is overripe, showing sign of decay, with the leaves shivering as they begin to dry out. Tone as form. Chiaroscuro, Stanley Spencer, 1891-1959. Self-portrait, 1914, oil on canvas. The diminutive, eccentric English artist painted this self-portrait 2 years after he left the Slade School of Art. It displays a total mastery of the academic skills that were taught there, particularly his use of chiaroscuro, which by his time had come to refer to dramatic contrast of light and dark. This is a tone of painting of the dark and the light. The inspiration for the portrait obviously draws on Spencer's love of Renaissance painting, and by association, it inherits those classical qualities. However, it also has an element of romanticism in its introspective vision. What makes this painting so appealing to modern eyes is the combination of Spencer's intensive personal scrutiny, the accuracy and expressive vitality of his brushwork, with the painting of his facial musculature and the extreme of tone which hold the form together with such dramatic tension. Tone as a drama. Pablo Picasso, 1881. to 1973. Guernica, 1937, oil on canvas. It is the depiction of the artist's horror at the bombing of the small Basque village during the Spanish Civil War. Pablo Picasso painted this huge canvas 1 in 1 feet, 6 inch wide by 25 feet, 7 inch long. For the Spanish pavilion at the Paris World Fair to focus international attention on this barbaric act. Guernica is probably the most dramatic painting of the 20th century, yet it is painted in tones of black and white without any hint of color. Picasso deliberately avoided using color due to its emotional import, which would detract from the dark despair of the subject. He turns to the black and white tonality of newspaper to reinforce the reality of his stylist drama and to present the brutality of the atrocity as authoritative fact. To emphasize his relationship, he stipples the hair on the body of the dying horse with lines reminiscent of newspaper. The absence of color in the work also lends a note to respect for the innocent victim of Guernica. Tone as Tranquility. John Francois Millet, 1814-1875. De Angelus, 1857 to 1859, oil on canvas. Under the 13th century. The Angelus is a Catholic devotion that can be traced back in the 13th century. The Angelus bell would ring 3 times a day to call the community prayer. Traditionally, workers would stop their activities at the sound of the bell and say the Angelus prayer in the morning, at noon, and again in the evening. The painting by John Francois Millet portrayed two Barbizon peasant workers who have spotted harvesting potatoes to say the evening Angelus. The man has reverently removed his cap, and the woman joined her hand in prayer. They both bow their heads in respect as the Angelus bell peals with the church on the distant horizon. Millet's use of subdued tones captures the peace and tranquility of the moment, while the bright tones of the sunset gently silhouette the bowed heads to highlight the humility of their prayer. On the last slide, tone as depth and distance. Precisionism. Charles Schiller, 1883-1965. Canyons, 1951, oil on canvas. The American painter and photographer was associated with Precisionism, the first homegrown modern art and movement in the USA. The Precessionists described the urban and industrial landscape of modern America, with a crystal-cut vocabulary of geometric form and dramatic perspective. Canyons is a cubist influence, cityscape of transparent and opaque silhouette, derived from building facades, window, and rooftops. Schiller colors this shape using a graduated scale of tone to create an atmospheric impression of the aerial depth and distance. The title of the painting is a poetic metaphor linking the urban landscape of streets and skyscrapers. So this is the skyscrapers. In the modern America, to the geological landscape of rivers in the American wilderness. That's all for the slide. and I hope that you learned something from this video. Again, I am Lilani M. Olaso, your instructor on art appreciation. I hope that you learned something from my video presentation. And for our quiz, I will be distributing quiz on our Google Classroom. So that's all for today. God bless us all and have a nice day ahead.